told me he's the same guy every day. But the urgency this time of the year does step up for Brady. In fact, he gave a pregame speech, which is rare for him, prior to the Bills game. And as Duron Harmon said afterwards, when I heard that, I said, ooh, Tommy's back. I know he's going to have a big game. And a big game he had, completing nearly 79% of his passes, by far and away the best number of the year. I asked Brady when and why he decides to get involved pregame like that. And he said, look, I want to remind the young players that you can never take these moments back. Now is the time. We can't have any regrets. Brady sat down with many players and coaches, including Bill Belichick, in our NFL 100. And here's Belichick on when he knew Brady was the man.
When did you know that he was something a little bit different?
Well, Tom was special his rookie year. Even though he didn't play, his leadership with the other rookies in the class, we had a big rookie class. Tom took them every day after practice and would run them up and down the field in their offensive plays, and was clearly a leader on the field. And then, had a very good training camp in 2001. Kind of the crossroads was in the middle of the 2001 season when we played the Rams. That was the week that Drew had come back, and so I split the reps between Tom and Drew that week. And the Rams beat us in that regular season game on Sunday night.
Warner straight back, sets up, now steps up, fires for the end zone, caught, touchdown Rams!
And I didn't think that was Tom's best game, but in retrospect, I looked at it and thought that it would be hard for anybody to play well, only getting half the reps. So the following week against New Orleans, I said, we're just going with Tom, and he's going to get all the reps, and he's going to play. That's what Mr. Kraft's paying me to do, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the decisions that I think are the best for the football team. T-E-A-M as in team. You played very well in that game, and I think that's one of the real trademarks of Tom's career is there've been a couple games along the way where it hasn't been his best, but the next game has always come back and been, an outstanding game. So that was a real turning point, I would say, in that season and ultimately in the evolution of Tom's great career.
Tom, are you aware that he thought you were special, part of the rookie class at the time? Is that news to you right now, or did you know that?
Yes and no. I mean, I think having him putting me on the field, I knew that he was confident in me. And obviously, over a lot of years of playing for him, I realized that he was always going to play, the person that he thought was best for the team. And he'll tell you all the time, it doesn't matter where you come from. I don't give a where you were drafted, how we got you here. You're here to win. And if you're not the best guy, you're not playing. I think that was a great opportunity for me, who's someone who was, a late round pick. And you think, God, that guy's going to get a lot more chances. And, it wasn't the case. He felt like, if you were on the team, you showed it on the practice field, you delivered when it mattered the most, then, you were going to get another shot to get out there and play.
I mean, what a show, what a segment. That was the first segment we recorded, by the way, back in May. It was the last, obviously, episode that aired on Friday night, and we'll show more of that later on game day morning. It was the first one that we sat down with you, and it was. Well, the set stayed together then. Mooch's microphone just fell off. I'm trying. Way to kill the moment, Steve. Make it all about you and your microphone. Where were we? Go ahead. By the way, say what you said off camera when you heard Belichick say that he pulled the trigger on Brady.
What?
You said good decision.
Well, it was a pretty good decision right there, Bill.
Yep. It worked out. That's a good button push. Good button push, Bill. Okay, so the here and now, right now. You saw, again, Kurt, you with your own two eyes, what this guy looked like against the Buffalo Bills. Is that the Brady you think we're going to see in January, Kurt?
I mean, it is. I know we're sitting here and trying to pretend like there's a couple different versions of Brady because we've seen some ups and downs over the last couple years. But, I mean, you got to look at what this guy, 17 playoff appearances, 13 times they've been to the AFC Championship game. 8 in a row they've been to the AFC Championship game. There is nobody that locks in at playoff time better than this guy. And talking to him when we were up at that game and, just watching him, he's like, well, if we win the next couple weeks and we play at home, I like our chances at home. They're 20-3 in home games. And he goes, then even if we have to go on the road for one game, I like our chances in a one-game playoff against anybody in the NFL because we've got the history to do it. And so, yeah, I believe he is going to play well. We talked about it a lot. What do the pieces around him look like? How do they play in the big moment with a lot of young guys? But I expect Tom Brady to get locked in as he started last week, and that will continue through the playoffs.
They're peaking at the right time. They always do. And you mentioned how many championship games and 9 Super Bowls, and Bill does a great job of peaking late in the year and developing those young kids. We're finding it in Tom's supporting cast. They're all getting on the same page right now. The players that they count on are healthy, the Edelmans and the Sony Michels, and he's a little sick today, but he's gonna be good in the playoffs, and James White. But this is an amazing, for a former coach to watch this organization year in and year out excel like they do. It's really a phenomenon, but they do such a great job coaching these players.
You guys are kind of stealing from Tom here today. I mean, you're taking from Tom. I understand your attempt to protect him, but his reality is so much greater than that. I like that Tom has had an issue this year. That's good. And it now seems like he's overcome it. And we got to say he's overcome it. He's done a wonderful job. But there's something to it. And you guys have talked about what he has done. What the question was really about how he needs to do what he's about to do. And the way he has to do what he's about to do, trying to get to the Super Bowl this year, Rich, we have to see more of the game managing Tom, not the game winning Tom. That's what will get this team to a Super Bowl, because they don't have those explosive plays where we can have an 07-like season. Tom only has 22 touchdowns. 07, he had 50 touchdowns. Randy Moss himself had more than that. He had 23 by himself. Last week, Tom hit 10 straight passes. And great calls, too. Great play calling, because they were all short passes, get his confidence going, get everybody confidence going, get him some confidence in those young guys. And now he looks like he's ready to manage this team to a Super Bowl.
And I think it's fascinating, again, when we were up there talking to Tom last week, that was one of the things that he mentioned was, I knew in training camp we weren't going to be at the level offensively that I'm used to being. And he reserved himself to the fact that we're a complementary piece. And it was so interesting to hear Tom Brady, the great Tom Brady, and all his success, to say, I understand. That's our role this year. As hard as it is for me, is to be a complementary role to our great defense.
And yet there's no pictures. There's no pictures next to the statistics, 11th consecutive.
This our season right here, man. Now is our time. Ain't no going back. Give yourself a chance. Play with so much swagger that everyone in the stadium can feel.
Wentz fires, touchdown! Birds 10, Cowboys.
Running game's just going nowhere tonight.
Goes to Sanders. He's in.
Miles Sanders doing a little bit of everything.
They've got him back at the 46. It is 4th down. Can the Eagles stop them here? Prescott firing deep, and it is incomplete.
Dak Prescott was not at his best.
We all expected to leave here as NFC's champs. It's very disappointing.
So it's the Eagles with a win-and-in scenario after all that today. All they have to do is win it, Giants, or hope the Cowboys lose. And the Cowboys could clinch still with a win and an Eagles loss and back into the playoffs like Michael Irvin backed into his parking spot for yesterday's game day morning meeting. For the moment, though, let's send things out to Texas once again to Jane Slater.
Somebody's spot?
Yeah, and Rich, if you ask the guys around the locker room if they'll be doing any scoreboard watching today, you'll get different responses. Wide receiver Amari Cooper says he might glance up a time or two during a timeout. As for tight end Jason Witten, he says he would like it if he had no way of knowing what's going on in that game. Still, the Cowboys are going to have to focus on this one, and to get through it, they're going to need Dak Prescott, their quarterback, to play better than he has in recent weeks. But that injured shoulder certainly limited him against the Eagles last weekend, and he didn't get any throwing time during practice at all this week, Rich.
Only one win, Jane, since the Cowboys won in Detroit in Week 11 to go to 6-4 on the season. It has just been a brutal 5-game stretch for Dak, as well as the Dallas Cowboys. And Dak, who has been terrific all season long, talking about his contractual situation, et cetera, had this to say. I mean, honestly, he's had not even a crossword to say, essentially. Had this to say when asked about today's game perhaps being Jason Garrett's last.
No, I think it's the last game on mine as well. So I'd be damned if I speak on anybody else's future or their place.
I mean, you're finally beginning to see maybe something bubbling underneath the surface. Certainly since, we don't know what Dak's going through physically to get ready for these games, and his main protector won't be there today, and Tyron Smith, at least not expected. Is he? Well, I'll just give you the floor. What do you think of that? In line with the question right there.
That was a hell of a setup right there, Rich. I mean, he was.
Well, I mean, setup. You could say about table setting might be the way to put it.
Table setting. That was a table setting. But look how you put it in that corner. He was just saying it's the last day on his contract too.
Why are you stepping up on me?